2 under 2. If this is you, then I totally get you. I understand your situation because I also am a mom who had 2 kids under 2 years. They were only 17 months apart. And today I want to share with you some life hacks to make life easier, things that I have found helpful in my family for building our home up to be a place where things happen and we get sleep. Hi friend, I'm Sarah of My Home, Your Home, Our Home, where we focus on nurturing our families at home and abroad. Join our community by hitting the subscribe button and also the bell notification because we'd love to have you here. I'm guessing that you're watching this video because 1, you're considering having 2 kids under 2 years, or 2, you've just found out that you're having 2 kids under 2 years, or 3, you actually are in the midst of this yourself in your life. Whichever situation you're in, these are some tips, hacks, life hacks, and different things that I have found helpful for our family and our situation. These are not things that are going to work for everyone's situation. I realize that, and I'm not claiming that, but I know that as a mom who found out that I was going to have another baby, I wanted this advice. I wanted to know how to handle a toddler and a baby at the same time. Those first few months with a newborn and a toddler are crazy hard. There's no way around it, and it is a time for a lot of grace and patience and a lot of strategies, and that's exactly what I'm going to give you today is these strategies. Let's start from the very top of the day with breakfast. Prepare breakfast the night before. This is something that I have found super helpful. I like to meal plan my whole week ahead of time, but breakfast is something that seems to just kind of still float in the air. And so if I plan it the night before, then the morning goes so much more smoothly. I like to do things like granola, homemade granola, and eggs, and those kind of things that can be prepared in the morning itself. But at least if I have the ingredients, I have the idea, and I know what we're going to do, then breakfast doesn't just end up kind of happening. There are a lot of different things that can help you with especially your toddler throughout the day, and one of those things is feeding them whole foods and lots of protein for breakfast. It really helps their blood sugar not to spike and then go down, which leads to a lot of mood swings. Giving them protein is something that is not the easiest thing to do. You can't get it through cold cereal. You don't get it really through a lot of different things that you might turn to for breakfast. I have lists of whole food breakfast ideas, protein focused breakfast ideas. They're linked in the description box below to help you out there. I found a lot of different ingredients and foods that can actually meet this need for toddlers, and knowing what they are and then also preparing them the night before has really helped our lives to go so much more smoothly. My next tip is to finish one task at a time. As a planner, as a mom who likes to do things sequentially, this actually was one of the most frustrating parts when I first had 2 kids. I could not seem to be able to finish one task without an immediate urgent need happening from somewhere else in the house. What I learned is that everything feels urgent when you're already feeling frustrated and frazzled. And so I had to learn to really differentiate between what it was actually urgent and what could actually wait. If my son spilled something in the kitchen, that wasn't actually urgent unless he was going to slip on it or unless it was still continuing to pour out. So actually changing my baby's diaper and finishing that before getting this mess cleaned up was something that I could do. So I finished one task and I moved on to the next. Otherwise, you have a lot of unfinished tasks throughout the day. And if you're anything like me, this was something that I just needed to be spoken to me and to my heart. It's okay to finish one thing at a time. Always pay attention to safety concerns, but a lot of things I found actually aren't emergencies. They're not actually something I have to drop everything I'm doing and go to get. One thing that helps me mentally to focus on finishing one task at a time is to kind of glue myself to a room. So if I'm in a room and I notice this room needs picked up right now, there's a task in here I have to get done, I make myself stay in that room. And I can also bring in activities to keep my toddler occupied or do something so that he is able to stay there as well, or he is occupied during this time, but I am glued to that room. Of course, excepting emergencies. Provide safe activities to occupy your toddler while you accomplish tasks. Your baby is not going anywhere really when they're a newborn. They're sleeping, they're with you, they're occupied, they're safe. They're not going to go anywhere. But your toddler is a different matter, and so finding safe activities to occupy them is really important. One time that I found really I needed to occupy my oldest son Steven was when I was nursing my baby Isaias. And my oldest son was only 17, 18 months at this time when his brother was born. So for him, there was a lot of jealousy going on. He wanted attention and he was not used to having to share it like this. And he was at an age where he could not convey that through words. So for him, he started throwing things around. And I had to find activities to occupy him during this time. I found recommendations from friends like matching socks, or having a puzzle, or having special toys that he could only play with during this time. And that really helped Stephen to adjust. He found out that there was a special time for him, just like there was a special time for his brother. Keep a box of special toys. I know I already mentioned this in safe activities to occupy your child, but when there are moments where you have to attend to your newborn, it's so much better to give your older child something to enjoy as well, something that gives them attention and knows they are thought of, and something they can anticipate as well. This was what my oldest son Stephen really enjoyed when I was nursing his brother, or when his brother had a nap time and I could give my attention to him. We had a special place in our closet where we just got toys out that only he could play with, and it made him feel like the attention was really on him. Carry your youngest in a baby wrap or baby carrier. I love baby carriers, and keeping one around the house is also just as useful sometimes as going out with one, because when you have a newborn and a toddler, you want your hands free to be able to attend to your toddler and to also be able to carry your newborn and keep them close to you. I did let my newborn sleep in his own bed during nap times that we had in our routine throughout the day. But other than that, I would try to carry him in a carrier while I was making dinner or something like that, so that he was close, he was safe, and his older brother couldn't pounce on him. Two of my favorite carriers are the Baby Catan Breeze, because it is wonderful for hot weather. It's also super easy to wrap. You don't have to manage all the different parts of cloth and things. And another one is the Infantino Flip, which is a baby carrier that's kind of like the Ergo carrier, but it's a lot cheaper and very simple, and it worked really well for us, especially during travel. Take off your toddler's shirt and clothes while he eats. This one might not sound very conventional, but what I found is that even with a bib, my son got his clothes entirely dirty. And so I would have to go through several different clothing changes throughout the day, in addition to changing a newborn. So what I found to be the easiest for us was simply to take off my toddler Steven's clothes and let him eat in his diaper. And he enjoyed this because we lived in hot weather, but it might not work in cold climates. You have to, of course, be really safe with the temperatures. But I found it so much easier to just wash his whole body off then and then put his clothes back on, rather than going through an entire clothing change. I don't know why that was easier. Maybe it was just mental, but I did find that also the laundry decreased that way, which ended up being super helpful. You use the high chair for entertainment purposes too. The high chair isn't just a place to eat. You can also put your child there to keep him safe and give him something to occupy him, like finger painting, Play-Doh, crayons, toys, while you are cooking or needing to accomplish something else. And then he's high enough up that he can see you and watch you and feel included, and you can keep him close so that he is right there within arm's reach. Snacks are also great to give in high chairs while you are accomplishing something, and keep your child from getting the food everywhere. Eat when your kids eat. This is something that was so hard, especially at the beginning. I felt like I didn't have any time to eat because I was either nursing a newborn or I was feeding my toddler, and I could not get myself fed. What I found is that if I coordinated my baby's nursing time or his nap time with our lunch time, especially when my husband wasn't home, then we could all eat together. So I could either be nursing my baby, that's usually how it ended up being, or he was sleeping in his own bed, or you could also be carrying your baby in a baby wrap. And then my toddler was eating and I was eating as well. And using baby-led weaning really helped me to do this because I wasn't actually spoon feeding my toddler. Instead, he was able to pick up the things and wasn't choking on them, and I knew what foods he could handle at that time. He was a great eater with baby-led weaning, and so I really recommend that if possible for helping you to be able to eat. Use independent play. This is something that I learned from a series by Gary Ezzo, and it was so helpful, especially in the beginning, and has been continued to be helpful throughout the years with our boys. When you use independent playtime, this does not mean that you're leaving your child in a room all by himself with no supervision at all and it's totally unsafe. Instead, what this is in our situation, we put up a baby gate. My son played in his room with toys that were safe for him, totally safe for him, and I was close by to hear him, to check on him, to look at him so that he was safe, but I also was able to get something else done. And this has other benefits as well besides just being able to get things done. It teaches kids to play independently. It also gives them space because there's so much creativity that can happen when you learn how to entertain yourself, and it's actually really good for children to learn to do that. Use a routine. I'm not talking about a schedule where you have to have some things happening at specific times during the day, but having a routine as a family, and especially for the kids, is really helpful in keeping everyone's nerves down. The kids know what to expect. I found even with my 17-month-old, he knew what to expect throughout the day. He knew when he was getting a smoothie. He knew when his nap time was. He knew when it was time to play together, when it was time to go outside, and this really helped him go throughout the day without a lot of meltdowns and just feeling like more attention and focus was given to him because it was naturally built into our day. So this is really helpful for me as a mom even now because I know, okay, it's this time. This is usually around this time we usually do this. It gives me ideas for what we can do. So I'm not sitting around like, what are we gonna do here? I have 2 crying kids and I don't know what we're gonna do because I just need to come up with something in the moment. Maybe this doesn't work for everyone, but I found it really helpful for our family just to have this routine. Again, not a strict schedule, but a routine of what to expect in life. Realize life won't be and isn't supposed to be the same. Nothing will be the same, and that's okay. There is grace for every season in our lives, every need in our lives, and learning that there will be changes in both your family dynamics and yourself and the people within your family as individuals is something that's really important to just accepting this new phase in life, this new season in life. These kids will grow up eventually. I know that, and I have to remind myself of that quite often when I feel like I'm losing patience. This is the season where I can really invest in their lives and pour into them. And when you have a newborn and a toddler, they're totally dependent on you. And it can get really tiring and exhausting. Life will not be the same as it ever was before, but it isn't supposed to be the same. And in receiving gifts into our lives, we sometimes trade off something else to keep those gifts, and these are very worthwhile gifts in our children. In conclusion, I just want to share a few thoughts about having 2 kids really close together. So having 2 children under 2 was a dream come true for me, and it was also perhaps the most challenging thing in my life. It was totally crazy and totally worth it. And today I see that my boys are very good friends. My oldest son, Steven, is almost 3 years old now, and the youngest, Isaías, just turned 1 in November. So they are really at the age now where they can talk together, where they can play together, they interact. Zaza, our youngest, is starting to say his brother's name, and it's adorable. It's great watching this. I grew up within about 15 months of my younger brother, and so I knew this was a great way to be really close to your siblings. But whether this was planned for you or dream come true or something really that was a surprise for you, I hope that you're able to find practical help in this video. The advice that I shared with you today was something that really helped bring clarity to my foggy mind during those first few months and years with my boys. I hope that you will come back and rejoin me again for a future video. It was great to chat with you today. Love you. Blessings in your 2 under 2 season, and I will chat with you soon. Ciao.